Hello, good people. This is Dyliard speaking, the CEO of the Open Wardrobe Gang, and welcome to another and sadly the very last episode of our blind playthrough of Mass Effect 1. In the very last episode, we had this amazing, awesome finale play before our eyes. I absolutely loved everything that the game was showing me on screen. It was absolutely awesome. We started off by this cool sequence in which we climbed the Citadel tower on the side of it because Saren disabled all of the elevator. The game followed that up with us convincing Saren to game end his life by shooting himself in the head. This was a great twist, and I had no idea Mass Effect had balls to pull a fast one like that on yours truly. Absolutely awesome. And it all culminated in the very first space battle unfolding in front of our eyes. It was arguably more interesting what was happening outside of the window of the council chambers in comparison to us fighting a zombified version of Saren, which was also cool, but whatever was happening on the other side of the window, amazing. Joker had this great moment, very cinematic. The battle was awesome. Just I cannot praise it enough. Today we will be doing something different, obviously, based on the title and the thumbnail of the video. You have probably guessed we'll be finishing up the Codex, considering this game. Right, the very last episode that we've recorded was 11 and a half, considering the Codex 11.5, I want to say. So since then a lot of happened. Feros has happened, the side mission grind has happened, and obviously Vermeer, Ilos, and the finale. So I'm expecting a lot from this particular Codex reading session. Things about the Thorian, very interesting stuff. Things about proteins and reapers as a whole, I want to learn more. Please give it to me, Mr. Codex. And things about Saren, maybe some backstory, who knows, maybe it's on the cards. You never know. Before we also start, I know this episode was to be released right after the finale, and when I was recording the finale, I absolutely planned to do it, but later on, real life responsibilities caught up with me, and I also got a case of a cold, so this particular episode had to be pushed a week later. So that's an FYI regarding my voice and whether I'll be even able to finish this particular recording session in one sitting. We'll see whether there are enough Codex entries in the Codex to ruin my fucking voice even more. Yeah, I was recording also Hollow Knight, another series that is on the channel. You should totally check it out. Shameless plug, by the way. Get it out of the way. I was recording Hollow Knight in the meantime, and basically I ruined my voice after the 2-hour episode, so let's see whether I've recovered enough. But I totally don't want to prolong and stall more, because I'm mighty interested about what's inside. Considering the good news, I can 100% with 100% certainty I can state that when this episode is a week old, Mass Effect 2 will be making an appearance on the channel for the very first time. I think that's totally what I plan to do. I have received a lot of comments from you guys. I am very grateful for them, about how you guys are interested and excited about Mass Effect 2, and me likewise. I also heeded your comments and heard to them that I shouldn't really test any recording of Mass Effect 2 because that game goes from 0 to 100 really fast. There is a spoiler heavy sequence at the beginning of the game, so I should be going in in, you know, blindly, and this is totally what we will be doing. Whether there are any problems with the recording, I will, you know, find out about that, you know, later when things calm down a little bit in the game. However, I know that, you know, the same PC requirements are given for all of the 3 games included in the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, so maybe there will be no issues, I hope. Yeah, okay, without further ado, let's jump right into it. To give you guys a small update regarding our location, we are on the side of like the Citadel tower. As you can see, the Sovereign there in the distance, slamming his fucked up feet into like the Citadel tower. Considering late game locations, I chose this particular one because there are no like these annoying alarms constantly blasting in the background everywhere, considering the Presidium and the Council chambers. So we are back to being, you know, stuck on the side of the building basically, and this is our setting for you know, sinking our teeth into the Codex. Okay, without further ado, and because I've been yapping for 6 minutes straight, let's jump into the Codex and see what it has to offer. Alright, the primary, I see some blinking things. Okay, 4 blinking categories. We'll be starting with this. And considering secondary, oh shit. Okay, there's a lot. Something regarding the DLC. Alien races. Maybe an update considering, I don't know actually. Some races that we probably know of. I don't believe we've met any new council races for a while. Considering extinct races, here I'm looking at the Protheans and the Reapers. Please give me more. Ships and vehicles, technology, and non-council races. Who knows what their what things may be hidden inside, but let's start with like the primary ones first. Non-sapient creatures. Okay, the Varen first.
With a preference for living prey. Originally native to the Krogan homeworld of Tuchanka, they are, like most life from Tuchanka, savage, clannish, and consummate survivors.
Oh my goodness.
They are pack hunters when vulnerable prey is readily available, and become scavengers when outnumbered or outclassed. Their supreme adaptability, vicious demeanor, and rapid breeding cycle have made them ubiquitous and dangerous pests on many worlds. Virtually everywhere the Krogan have been, Varen infestations
oh my goodness,
wreaking havoc with the native ecology.
They are like rats.
The Krogan have had a love-hate relationship with Varen for millennia, alternately fighting them for territory and embracing them as treasured companions.
Really?
To this day, Krogan raise them as beasts of war. One of the common subgenus of Varen has metallic silver scales, leading to the rather unusual nickname, fish dogs.
This is all mighty interesting. Starting off a bang, off the bat with a bang. Had no idea about these connections between the Varen and like the Krogan. I believe we've only met the Varen on Pharos, and they seem to be like, yeah, totally native to that area. But I also remember in the DLC the Batarians used them as like hounds, basically. This would have been so cool to see like some Krogan, and we've seen some Krogan in battle, right? Those are one of the only races that we've really got to shoot at, because Saren had like a lot of Krogan mercenaries. It would have been so cool to see them use the Varen, basically, similar to how Batarians did, right? There's this perfect opportunity on Pharos, but I guess it did not come to fruition. Okay, alright.
The home world and capital of humanity is entering a new golden age. The resource wealth of a dozen settled colonies and 100 industrial outposts flows back to Earth, fueling great works of industry, commerce, and art. The great cities are greening, as arcology, skyscrapers, and telecommuting allow more efficient use of land. Earth is still divided among nations.
This is what I'm interested in.
Affiliated beneath the overarching banner of the Systems Alliance. While every human enjoys a longer and better life than ever, the gap between rich and poor widens daily.
Oh,
Advanced
no.
nations have eliminated most genetic disease and pollution. Less fortunate regions have not progressed beyond 20th century technology and are often smog-choked, overpopulated slums.
That
Sea
sucks.
levels have risen 2 meters in the last 200 years, and violent weather is common due to environmental damage inflicted during the late 21st century. The past few decades, however, have seen significant improvement due to recent technological advances.
Okay, at least there's that. Had no idea the situation on Earth was so dire. I mean, it doesn't sound that dire in comparison to today's day and age, but I was really envisioning something like, you know, the Star Trek universe where the humans have everything figured out, right? And they are helping now everyone in the space community. I guess not. I guess there are still less fortunate regions out there, and the Alliance truly just is like the UN equivalent of our real Earth. Really interesting, as always.
Pharos is a habitable world in the Attican Beta Cluster. 2/3 of the habitable surface is covered with the ruins of a crumbling Prothean megatropolis. In the millennia since the Prothean extinction, the ruins have been repeatedly picked over by looters many times.
I think we
Pharos was
already
considered
know
a
this.
poor prospect for colonization, as little open ground remains for agriculture. The only sizable freshwater sources are the poles, which are tapped by the decaying Prothean aqueduct systems.
I remember reading
Cities,
this.
while in good condition considering their antiquity, are of uncertain stability.
Yeah. I think the only new update is the Islos, because we got like the Pharos one alongside Noveria initially.
Like the ancient human city of Troy,
Ah,
Ilos is a world known only through second-hand sources.
really?
References to Ilos have been found at several other Prothean ruins, though direct study of the world is unlikely to occur. Ilos lies in a remote area of the Terminus systems, only accessible by the legendary Mu Relay. 4,000 years ago, the Mu Relay was knocked out of position by a supernova and lost. Since then, Ilos and its cluster have been inaccessible. Occasionally, a university will organize an expedition to chart a route to Ilos using conventional FTL drive. These never get beyond the planning stages due to the distance and danger. The journey could take years or decades, passing through the hostile Terminus systems and dozens of unexplored systems.
This is so awesome, then them making like this connection between Troy and Ilos, and this is like one of the things I was talking about in the very last episode, considering, you know, the review section of that very episode. I was so interested in Liara's character and her input regarding everything Prothean related, but it seemed Protheans were left like deliberately hidden from the players, so that, you know, even though Liara was like this historian and scientist knowing so much about the Protheans, that connection never made that big of a deal, considering her character, which I was really sad about. I wanted to just learn more about the Protheans, and it seemed that this is what her character is about, that and, you know, Matriarch Benezia, and she never was able to, you know, show off her knowledge and truly, you know, dump some information onto Shepard, which was, as I said, rather sad. Alright, the very last one, considering this category.
Combat hard
What do we have
suits
here? Mass
protect
accelerators.
the wearer. A mass accelerator propels a solid metal slug using precisely controlled electromagnetic attraction and repulsion. The slug is designed to squash or shatter on impact, increasing the energy it transfers to the target. If this were not the case, it would simply punch a hole right through, doing minimal damage.
Don't know what this is
Design was
referring to.
revolutionized by Element Zero. A slug lightened by a mass effect field can be accelerated to greater speeds, permitting projectile velocities that were previously unattainable. If accelerated to a high enough velocity, A simple paint chip can impact with the same destructive force as a nuclear weapon.
Makes sense.
However, mass accelerators produce recoil equal to their impact energy. This is mitigated somewhat by the mass effect fields that rounds are suspended within. But weapon recoil is still the prime limiting factor on slug velocity.
Very, very interesting, but I'm not sure what this is referring to in this particular instance, as it is in the weapon, armor, and equipment category. I would think this refers to some upgrade, considering, you know, the weapons. But did we interact with some mass accelerator rounds or something of the sorts, considering our inventory? I can't quite remember. This is the very definitely an element or like an area considering the game when I wasn't like paying that much attention. Obviously, I was always min-maxing my squad considering their weapons and considering their armor, but you know, min-maxing every single gun was a little bit, you know, tedious. You know, imagine that you have like 6 party members like you do in this game. Considering late game, right? Considering late game weapons, every single one of those party members can use 4 different guns, and every single gun would have 4 different slots that you could improve, you know, the weapons further, and at that point you would be, you know, handling all of those handling all of those improvements was definitely like a doozy and a half, and rather like a time-consuming thing. So I definitely, you know, outside of always watching my armor upgrades, I was not that into weapon upgrades because there was just so much and so many items that I picked along the way considering this game. Okay, so I guess that's it considering the primary codex. Now the real test, the secondary one. Let's test our voice, whether who will be the first on the ground, me or the codex? Bring down the sky. Maybe something about Black? Maybe something about Black and his future, question mark, appearances? Technology translation. What? Okay, that's a little bit surprising. What do we have here about translation, and why was it given to us during the DLCs? Human cultures remain linguistically divided, makes sense. Some converse in Spanish, other in Mandarin, Arabic, Swahili, etc. Every alien race has their own equally broad panoply of languages and dialects, yeah. Totally made this observation, or like kind of made this observation, right? The space is populated by humans having different sounding names, you know, definitely coming from different cultures, and this was definitely also reflected in, you know, the voice actors. Yeah, but at the same time, every single alien speaks English. So I want to know how this is handled, considering this translation, codex entry. I totally remember, and I very liked this element of ILOs, where, you know, that VI that we met in that underground section of it when we were trying to open those big doors. Yeah, it spoke to Shepard in English, but you know, he understood it because of the visions and like of the things that he picked up along the way, considering the main plot of the game. And Rex and Tali, they were totally unaware of what that thing was saying. Most individuals know only their mother tongue and rely on machine translation. Modern portable computers allow anyone with a few hundred credits of equipment to enjoy seamless real-time translation of alien languages. Ooh, let's go, future. Courtesy of handheld PDAs. Computers in clothing or jewelry or subdermal implants. Without fast and accurate translation, galactic trade and culture could not exist. Governments provide subsidized software updated through the public extranet on the fly, often as users approach spaceport custom facilities. Even the Batarians, who isolated themselves from galactic society nearly 2 decades ago, take pains to provide up-to-date glossaries and linguistic rules. Though most suspect this is only so they can continue exporting propaganda. Also cannot rule the slaves that you, steal and acquire without being able to, delegate them to some tasks, I guess. It is still considering broad-minded and practical to be able to speak without machine aid. Children often take courses in an alien language, and most races can speak the simplified artificial trade tongue with little difficulty. I mean, in the Mass Effect future, this must be absolutely insane, right? In today's day and age, considering, the West, it's like, knowing 2, 3 languages, maybe 4, that's already insanity. Imagine, how many languages there must be, and variations considering, all of the races, or at least like the council races. Some species must rely on machine translation to interact with the rest of the galaxy. Hanar, for example, cannot reproduce the spoken language of any humanoid species. Really? That's so cool. And other races cannot reproduce Hanar bioluminescence without mechanical aid. Newly discovered or obscure races don't have machine translation available until the linguists have had time to study them. Oh my god, the linguists are actually making bank in the future? I guess something, not necessarily how it is in today's day and age. Okay, aliens, council races. What do we have here? Oh my god, this is so funny. This is so funny. I saw Salarian's biology or something along the line, and I thought, oh my god, it's regarding the Asari. And we totally picked it up when we got hot and steamy with Liara. I don't know. It's always hard to tell. It's always hard to tell when you open up one of those menus, and like when the new thing is the very first thing, you never know whether it was truly a new entry. Asari have a robust cellular regenerative system. While they do not heal faster than other species, they are known to reach 1,000 years of age. Yes, see, I remember that info being provided to us, but now I don't remember, like, the source of it. I believe with the biology, I believe we've had it. But at the same time, here, the matrions and matriarchs are like discussed. When did we pick this up? Totally during one of the conversations with Liara. It will not hurt to reread some of this, right? I also have not noticed whether we would get like any updates regarding the Codex, considering Codex entries. For example, when we speak with Liara for the very first time, only like 2 or 3 paragraphs could appear, and later on you could acquire new information. And could Asari biology be updated? I don't know. Okay, although Asari have one gender, yes, they are not asexual. Yup. And Asari provides 2 copies of her own genes to her offspring. The second set is altered in a unique process called melding. During melding, an Asari consciously attunes her nervous system to her partner. Okay. Sending and receiving electrical impulses directly through the skin. Alright, the partner can be another Asari or an alien of either gender. Effectively, the Asari and her partner briefly become one unified nervous system. Alright, I believe this must be like a new entry. I remember the original conversation with Liara about the biology and stuff, and I was really dumbfounded by, all of the info that we found there, so I think this is new. This unique means of reproduction is the reason Asari are talented biotics. Their evolved ability to consciously control nerve impulses is very similar to biotic training. Asari believe that their offspring acquire the best qualities of the father from the melded genes, but evidence is anecdotal, They pass through 3 climacteric life stages marked by biochemical and psychological changes. The maiden stage, probably the youngest, begins at birth and is marked by the drive to explore and experience. Most young Asari are curious and restless. The matrion stage of life begins around the age of 350. Really interesting. Okay, so even though Liara, as an individual, only entered her adulthood and she's like around 100 years old, if I remember correctly, or am I really guessing or like getting my numbers mixed up? I would say she is still probably in this very first stage. That's weird that these are not differentiated, because I wouldn't call her a matron, because it can be triggered earlier if the individual melts frequently, so it was Liara's very first time, so I guess that's not on the table, her being a matron. This period is marked by a desire to settle in one area and raise children. Yeah, totally not her for now. She was all about that research. The matriarch stage begins around 700 or earlier if the individual melts rarely. They become active in their community as sages and counselors, dispensing wisdom from centuries of experience. While each stage of life is marked by strong biological tendencies, individuals do make unexpected life choices. For example, there are maidens who stay close to home rather than explore, matrons who would rather work than build a family, and matriarchs who have no interest in community affairs. I mean, this is totally logical. I would think that there are not just, 3 templates that you follow, or like one template having like 3 different stages, and that's just every Asari. That would be ridiculous. Okay, military doctrine. Do they have like a military? I mean, obviously they have those Asari commandos that we absolutely pawned during that one mission on Noveria. What do you have to say then? The Asari military resembles a collection of tribal warrior bands with no national structure. Really funny, because it reminds me of like the Krogan, who I would call less enlightened. Each community organizes its own unit as the locals see fit and elect a leader to command them. Units from populous cities are large and well equipped, while those from farm villages may be only a few women with small arms. There is no uniform. Everyone wears what they like. The Asari military is not an irregular militia, however, those who serve are full-time professionals. It's kind of it kind of clashes with like what we've seen on the screen. Every single like Asari that we see on screen, both considering matriarch Benizia followers and like the Asari that we've seen around the climax of like the story, operating that one ship. I believe that was, yeah, the flagship of like the council races. They all wore like similar looking clothes, but that might be just like a limitation, considering the development of the game. The average Asari huntress is in the maiden stage of her life and has devoted 20 to 30 years of studying the martial arts. Oh shit, 20 to 30? These guys are absolute pros, or they are very slow learners. Asari choose to be warriors at a young age, and their education from that point is dedicated to sharpening the mind and body. For that sole purpose, when they retire, they possess an alarming proficiency for killing. Huntresses fight individually or in pairs depending on the tactics preferred in their town. One-on-one, a huntress is practically unbeatable, possessing profound tactical insight, a hunter's eye, and a dancer's grace and elasticity. Holy fucking shit, I mean, Liara was definitely very proficient later on, considering her abilities and her contribution to the squad, but it still was Dilliard Shepard that was doing the majority of the heavy lifting. Biotics are common enough that some capability is a requirement to be trained as a huntress. I guess maybe she didn't get like this official training. Who knows? Lack of biotic talent excludes a young Asari from military service. While fluent and mobile, Asari can't stand up in a firestorm the way a Krogan, Turian, or human could. Yeah, they are weak in that sense. Glass cannon type of a situation. Since their units are small and typically lack heavy armor and support weapons, they are almost incapable of fighting a conventional war, particularly one of a defensive nature, so Asari units typically undertake special operations missions. Very interesting that this was also like the role given to like the Salarians with like their espionage unit. But I guess they are like a perfect fit considering a small party, such as one run by Dilliard Shepard, right? Like an army of ninja, they are adept at ambush, infiltration, and assassination, demoralizing and defeating their enemies through intense focused guerrilla strikes. As a popular Turian saying puts it, the Asari are the finest warriors in the galaxy. Fortunately, there are not many of them. This is lovely. Holy shit, there is so much about council races. I love it. Now for like the Solarians, I can only imagine that we got all of those updates during like our mission on Vermeer. Solarians are noted for their high-speed metabolism, which allows them to function on just 1 hour of sleep a day. Oh shit! I swear, whenever there's a new Codex entry, new awesome info is being dropped on us. Their minds and bodies work faster than most sapient races, making them seem restless and hyperactive. The drawback of this active metabolism is a short lifespan of around 40 human years. Yup. The Solarians are amphibian haplodiploid egg layers, unfertilized egg. Fucking egg layers, really? Unfertilized eggs produce males and fertilized eggs produce females. Once a year. Have we met an Solarian female? I don't know. we have not met that many Solarians. Captain Kirhei, that one guy Stady is studying the Keepers on the Citadel, that one merchant on Pharos, but outside of that, not that many Solarians. Obviously, like the head of the council. Social rules prevent all but a fraction from being fertilized. As a result, 90% of the species is male. This is my stupid ass biting me in the ass, trying to hypothesize without reading not only the entire entry, but like a paragraph. Solarians have photographic memories and rarely forget a fact. They also possess a form of psychological imprinting, tending to defer to those they knew in their youth. Solarians hatching is a solemn ritual in which the clan Daltra's matriarch isolates herself with the eggs. The young Solarians psychologically imprint on her and tend to defer to her wishes. What the fuck? I mean, this is so also interesting. In like day-to-day, like in like a day-to-day communication and like a day-to-day, you know, how society plays out. I wouldn't say like the guy on like Pharos being this one merchant doesn't differ that much in how he behaves or, you know, how he operates from like a human, but here we are diving into all of those all of this interesting stuff with, you know, Asari and their mating and freaking Salarians and this weird shit that is going on going on here. I didn't know you guys are freaky like that. Every single one of them freaking council races are freaky in a different way. During the hatching of daughters, the Dalatrases of the mother and father's clans are presented at the imprinting. This ensures the offspring have equal loyalty to both, ensuring the desired dynastic and political unity. Wow. How about the government? The Salarian government is called the Salarian Union. It is a labyrinthine web of matrilineal bloodlines with political alliances formed through interbreeding. Okay. Makes sense, considering our Earth standards. In many ways, the Salarians' political network functions like the noble families of Earth's medieval Europe. Structurally, the government consists of fiefdoms, baronies, duchies, planets, and marches. Colonization cluster. Clusters. These are human nicknames. The original Salarian is unpronounceable. That's fucking hilarious. Each area is ruled by a single Dalatras, matriarchal head of a household, and represents an increasing amount of territory and prestige within the Salarian political web. This is so out of this world and just brings back to my memory all of the things I had to say about wishing to see everything that is happening in the universe, right? Whatever the Salarians, the Asari, the Krogan, and the Quarians are up to in their respective worlds. Approaching 100 members, the first circle of a Salarian's clan comprises parents, siblings, uncles, aunts, and cousins. The next circle includes second cousins, etc., and escalates to well over 1,000 members. The fourth or fifth circle of a clan numbers into the millions. Okay, a lot of these motherfuckers in just clans, I guess. Salarian loyalty is greatest to their first circle and diminishes from there. Their photographic memories allow Salarians to recognize all their myriad relatives. Yeah, I remember they have these really long names. Was it the Salarians? I believe. Yeah, those, like, given their name, given their surname, also the planet of origin. Ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Before they joined the Citadel Council, the Salarians' most potent military tool was a small reconnaissance team known as the League of One. Their primary training was in espionage and assassination, okay? Giving the Asari a run for their money, huh? Never more than a dozen strong, the team was adept at infiltrating the tightest defenses and eliminating all necessary obstacles. Only a few top members of government and military were privy to the League's identities. League members wore no distinguishing garments and held no particular rank. The only evidence of their participation in the League was a small medallion presented to each member upon induction. Okay, that doesn't sound like a foolproof way of, you know, spotting and noticing one of them. That thing gets forged or gets stolen and it's like, you're one of them, I guess. This secrecy was maintained until the formation of the council. Okay, so it's changed. Once again, write the fucking paragraph until its end before you make a dumbass observation. In an effort to dispel rumors and appease their new Asari partners, the Salarian Union released all classified documents pertaining to the League. The League of One was suddenly exposed and in danger of being haunted by enemies of the Salarians. Before any harm could be done, the team mysteriously disappeared. Most assumed this was a convenient lie to help hide their identities, but a few months later, the inner cabinet was murdered. Oh shit, the plot thickens. Though there were no incriminating evidence, it was clear who was responsible. Realizing the threat posed by this rogue outfit, the Special Task Group dispatched a team of hunters. When they didn't return, the STG dispatched 10 of its brightest operators with broad discretionary powers. Only 2 returned. They reported no evidence of the League. Really? No further incidents were reported, and it was assumed the League was wiped out. Some recently declassified documents, however, have suggested that there may have been a 13th member who eluded the Salarian military. Oh shit. A little bit of a cliffhanger, considering this entry. Maybe we'll get into contact, maybe we'll get into contact with, like, the League of One in Mass Effect 2 or 3? Who knows? Who knows? Military doctrine. In principle, the Salarian military is similar to the Alliance. Really? A small volunteer army that focuses on maneuver warfare. What differentiates the Salarians is not their equipment or doctrine, but their intelligence services and rules of engagement. The Salarians believe that a war should be won before it begins. Alright, I do respect that. They are smart about this. Conventional wisdom holds that the Salarians know everything about everyone, and this is not far from the truth. In war, okay, so, you know, slight differences considering, you know, the Asari here, right? While those are ninjas and, you know, the emphasis was on their proficiency in combat, these guys seem to have, like, the intelligence and intel gathering flavor. In war, the unquestioned superiority of their intelligence services allow them to use their small military to maximum effectiveness. Well before fighting breaks out, they possess complete knowledge of their enemy positions, intentions, and timetable. In every war the Salarians have fought, they struck first and without warning. Oh shit! Also no mercy in them. I mean, Captain Kirhei, the best example of how devoted they can be considering the mission, right? For the Salarians... And now I'm just, like, wishing we would get, like, a Salarian party member. They sound so fucking cool now that I know more about them. Initially, and, you know, after Vermeer, initially it was like, okay, the lifespan is not that long, and they are, like, rogues and intelligence gatherers, but this seems mighty cool. For the Salarians, to know an enemy plans to attack and to let it happen is folly. To announce their own plans to attack is insanity. They find the human moral concepts of do not fire until fired upon and declare a war before prosecuting it incredibly naive. In defensive wars, they execute devastating preemptive strikes hours before the enemy's own attacks. On the offensive, they have never telegraphed their intentions with a declaration of war before attacking. Biotics are virtually unknown in the Salarian military. That's interesting. Do they have no, like... Would their bodies not handle, like, the chips and all of the stuff associated with the biotics? Those with such abilities are considered too valuable to be used as cannon fodder and are assigned to the intelligence services. While capable of defending themselves against most threats, the Salarians know that they are small fish in a universe filled with sharks. Funnily enough, they have this connection to water. I appreciate this writing. As a point of survival, they have cultivated strong alliances with large powers, particularly with the Turians, of course. So the fucking Turians. The fucking Turians being hyped up, and then we see the very last battle and they absolutely get fucking run over by the Sovereign. I guess it's understandable. It is the Alliance that had to come in and, you know, take care of the big bad. Though the relationship between the two species was rocky at first due to the Krogan uplift fiasco, the Salarians take pains to keep the relationship strong enough that anyone who might threaten them risks Turian intervention. Alright, the best buddies. Holy shit, there is so much, let's go! Alright, lovely, lovely. Especially because you guys know of my love for like the culture and like the world building regarding like the aliens. I am very glad that we are getting many new entries, considering, you know, Codex entries related to the aliens. I mean, as I've already mentioned countless times, the technology is cool, but this is, you know, the thing that I love the most. Okay, so Turians now, let's see. That's you guys. The Turian government is a hierarchical meritocracy. While it has great potential for misuse, this is tempered by the civic duty and personal responsibility Turians learn in childhood. Yes, we've heard. Turians have 27 citizenship tiers, beginning with civilians, client races, and children. The initial period of military service is the second tier. Formal citizenship is conferred at the third tier after boot camp. Once again, these similarities in a way to the Roman Empire, right? For client races, citizenship is granted after the individual musters out. Higher-ranked citizens are expected to lead and protect subordinates. Lower-ranked citizens are expected to obey and support superiors. Promotion to another tier of citizenship is based on the personal assessment of one's superiors and core rankers. Throughout their lives, Turians ascend to higher tiers and are occasionally demoted to lower ones. The stigma associated with demotion lies not on the individual, but on those who promoted him when he wasn't ready for additional responsibility. Really interesting. Now all of the things that happened, I believe, in the Flux, with like that one disgraced general, you know, like screaming bad things about the consort, that just gets like additional context, right? Why he was so freaking distraught by this whole thing. He probably will never be general again. This curbs the tendency to promote individuals into positions beyond their capabilities. Settling into a role and rank is not considered stagnation. Turians value knowing one's own limitations more than being ambitious. Really? So like, Garrus is totally like this phenomenon, complete phenomenon, right? Working for CSEC so long, being fed up and having these aspirations for becoming a Spectre. At the top are the Primarchs, who each rule a colonization cluster. The Primarchs vote on matters of national import. They otherwise maintain a hands-off policy, trusting the citizens on each level below them to do their jobs competently. It's a lot of trust they are putting in them, jeez. It would not work with the fucking humans. Turians enjoy broad freedoms so long as one completes his duties and does not prevent others from completing theirs. Nothing is forbidden. For example, there are no laws against recreational drug use. Oh shit, man, we are going there, I guess. But if someone is unable to complete his duties due to drug use, his superiors step in. Judicial proceedings are interventions. Peers express their concern and try to convince the offender to change. If rehabilitation fails, Turians have no qualms about sentencing dangerous individuals to life at hard... What? To life at hard labor for the state. Okay, I mean, I guess on brand considering the thing they have going on in their in their society. But goddamn, just another bomb being dropped at us towards the end of this long passage. Okay, how about the religion? I don't think we've heard a lot regarding Turian religion. Although Turians have a strict moral code, yeah, they were totally devoted to like their society and shit, but I don't believe we've heard about their religion. Their belief in individual responsibility means that the concepts of good and evil are simply the individual's choice between egotism and altruism in any given decision. They have no concept of good deities that encourage noble behaviors or evil ones that tempt individuals to misdeeds. Okay, freaking atheists, huh? They believe that groups and areas have spirits that transcend the individual. For example, a military unit would be considered to have a literal spirit that embodies the honor and courage it has displayed. Huh, fascinating. A city's spirit reflects the accomplishments and industry of its residents. An ancient tree's spirit reflects the beauty and tranquility of the area it grows within. This is so peculiar. This is absolutely not what I've expected. But like, this is the thing that I was also mentioning in the very last episode. Liara, Rex, Tali, they speak a lot about their people and like kind of embody their values and so on and so forth. It always has been a little bit different with Garrus. He seems like, based on all of those descriptions regarding Turians, their culture, government, and so on and so forth, like Garrus more closely like resembles a human than a Turian in my mind. Maybe I'm missing something, or like I'm misunderstanding him, or maybe like I'm not recalling well the conversations we've had, but he totally, considering his personality, strikes me as a human. I don't know, man. These spirits are neither good nor evil, nor are they appealed to for intersection. Turians don't believe spirits can affect the world, but spirits can inspire the living. Prayers and rituals allow an individual to converse with a spirit for guidance or inspiration. Reading that line, I also started thinking about the Geth. You know, the game was also like drip feeding us like information about the Geth, and we don't know much about them, but I always think back to like that sequence on Pharos when they were like in this like praying position, you know, next to that, you know, their ship. So mighty interesting. Everything this is, you know, all of this is. Prayers and rituals allow an individual to converse with a spirit for guidance or inspiration. For example, a Turian who finds his loyalty tested may appeal to the spirit of his unit, hoping to reconnect with the pride and honor of the group. A Turian who wishes to create a work of art may attempt to connect with the spirit of a beautiful location. What do you mean by connect? Is this like a self-reflection type of a thing? Turians enjoy absolute freedom of religion and can practice whatever appeals to them so long as it does not impede anyone's ability to perform their duties. Okay. Alright, there are many practitioners of the Asari Siarist philosophy. Since opening dialogue with the Human System Alliance, some Turians have embraced Confucianism and Zen Buddhism. Alright. That actually makes sense. Interesting. So not atheists. It's like they are like individual in everything outside of, you know, the betterment of their community. At about the time the Salarians and Sari were forming the council, the Turians were embroiled in a bitter civil war. Okay, civil war, not necessarily on brand for the Turians based on all of these descriptions. Then Unification War. as it was later named, began with hostilities between the colonies furthest from the Turian homeworld, Palaven. These colonies were run by local chieftains, many of whom had distracted themselves from the hierarchy. Without the galvanizing influence of the government, the colonies became increasingly isolated and xenophobic. Colonists began wearing emblems of facial markings to differentiate themselves from members of other colonies, and open hostilities became common. Really? When war finally broke out, the hierarchy maintained strict diplomacy and refused to get involved. After several years of fighting, less than a dozen factions remained, and the hierarchy finally intervened. By that time, the chieftains were too weak to resist. They were forced to put an end to fighting and renew their allegiance to the hierarchy. Though peace was restored, it took several decades for animosity between colonists to fade completely. To this day, most Turians still wear the facial markings of their home colonies. I believe in the very last episode we saw like a shot of an inside or like a cockpit of one of the council or Citadel ships. There was like the Turian military, and there were definitely Turians in there with face paint on their faces. Huh. Does Garrus have something like this? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. He has like a gray skin, rather smooth. Which is there. As a point of interest, the Turian term barefaced refers to one who is beguiling or not be trusted. It is also a slang term for politicians. Really? I mean, god damn it, I would have to like pull up like a freaking picture of Garrus, but I could swear that he is a barefaced Turian. You never know. Maybe if Garrus makes a reappearance in another freaking game, this particular element of his character changes, and maybe he starts using face paint. Alright, I'm freaking sitting up. This is the important moment of us accessing the extinct races, and I am expecting a lot here. I am expecting a lot. Protheans and Reapers, you better show the fuck up. Okay, alright. Protheans data disks. Okay. Related to our side content grind, that's lovely that it makes an appearance. And Protheans Mars Ruins. Okay, Mars Ruins. May it be in any way, shape or form connected with that Prothean orb that we found. But first things first, a little bit bummed nothing about the Reapers here. Maybe the Reapers got like moved from the extinct races category because now we learned that they are no longer extinct, who knows? Okay, not that much, just 3 paragraphs, but I'm not complaining. Despite all the evidence confirming the existence of the Protheans, little is known about their culture and society. From time to time, dig sites will yield new clues, but after 50,000 years of decay, little of value is unearthed. Recent research has focused on the discovery of Prothean data disk. Yup, that's us. On their own, they are frail and rarely found in one piece. Occasionally, however, an intact disk will be discovered within a console or reading device. To date, over 36 disks have been recovered, and a few of those have been restored to the point where researchers can begin analyzing them. Though it may be some time before scientists discover a way to transfer the data of the disks, they are currently considering the most tangible leads for learning more about the Prothean culture. God damn it, this is a whole bunch of a nothing burger. Alright. This is just saying wait for the sequel in order to learn more. This totally is getting me, like, giving me the same vibe as like that that Geth hologram that we found during the freaking Tally's side quest, and actually also the data disk that we found on the Geth that they will need years to, you know, decode and understand, decipher, right? Nothing concrete for now, but I have my hopes up for the future. Okay. After 20 years of manned research outposts and nearly a century of robotic exploration, the European Space Agency Lowell City became the first settlement on Mars in 2103. Within a decade, the United States and China had founded permanent settlements as well. Oh, interesting, the Europeans were first. The South Polar region of Promethae Planum developed a Bermuda Triangle reputation. Satellites detected intermittent mass concentrations and magnetic field shifts. In 2148, prospectors working near Desado crater discovered an underground complex, a protein observation post. The odd phenomena were generated by the operations and discharged of a mass effect core struggling to function despite 50 millennia of neglect. Wow. How the hell did we pick this one up? Just, you know, giving us more detail about, you know, the very first contact, let's call it. No idea where we could have picked this one up. Earth was electrified by the news. I mean, understandably so. Like, a concrete evidence that we are not alone in the universe must be, like, shattering for the general public. A tangible one, you know? Humanity was unequivocally not alone. While courts battled over who owned the ruins, the international scientific community coordinated a massive effort to access, translate, and interpret the data banks recovered from the facility. The facility proved to be a bioscience observation post built when Homo sapiens were first evolving on Earth. Okay, this truly might be connected with that data, with that protein orb, right? It was telling a different story about, like, this experience of, like, a, I don't know, hunter-gatherer or whoever noticing, like, a ship in the sky. While the motives of the proteins are not certain, translated records indicate that the facility was in regular communication with automated observation platforms in Earth's orbit and on the lunar near side. The half-dozen Mass Effect spaceships found in the facility were presumably used for first-hand observation. Oh shit! So they also got, like, fucking protein ships. This is the very first time we are hearing about something like that, right? The Citadel and the mass relay system, but ships? I mean, I guess everything in, you know, in space is based on the protein technology and so on and so forth, or more so, like Reaper One, I guess. So, you know, there must be overlap to a certain extent between, you know, Earth ships and, like, Turian ships, or Alliance ships and Turian ships. I mean, it doesn't make much sense because at this point, you know, the Turians helped build the Normandy and so on and so forth, but you guys know what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is that the space community must have developed ships that were similar to those of the proteins. Alright, and that's it, man. That's it. Extinct races, just 2 entries. I want more. Cannot reiterate enough. Alright, known council races. This must be about Batarians, right? right? Have we met any other non-council races after episode 11? Can't believe we did. Outside of the Batarians. Oh. I mean, oh yeah, okay, known council races as in not Asari, Salarian, and Turian. Fine, you got me, game. You got me. Okay, Krogan military doctrine might have picked that up when we were talking with Rex about, you know, warlords and how the society looks for them. Traditional Krogan tactics were built on attritional mass unit warfare. Oh, attritional. Equipped with cheap, rugged gear, troop formations were powerful but inflexible. Command and control was very centralized. Soldiers in the field who saw a target contacted their commanders behind the lines to arrange fire support. Since the genophage, the Krogan can no longer afford the casualties of the old Horde attacks. Oh, that's mighty peculiar. That's mighty peculiar. I love this. I love how we are getting, like, not only like an overview, but also like a history, right? Oh, the Salarians used to do this, but then they made alliance to, like, the Turians because they are, you know, quote, weaker, unquote, considering their military. And now, you know, oh, the Krogan from before the genophage and now after. Mighty interesting. The Battle Masters are a match for any 10 soldiers of another species. To a Battle Master, killing is a science. They focus on developing a clean, brute force economy of motion that exploits their brutal strength to incapacitate enemies with a swift, single blow of overwhelming power. Is this why the Krogan constantly freaking charge at you? We faced some Battle Masters, and we bested all of them. This change of focus from mass unit warfare to maximal efficiency has increased employment demand in the field of security and muscle for hire. Due to the unsavory reputation of the Krogan, most of these jobs are on the far side of the law. Battle Masters are not split and polish, but they do believe in being well armed and equipped, preferably with a gun for each limb. Sorry about constant breaks. I'm sipping on the second cup of tea in order to, you know, get through this Codex Codex reading session in one sitting. I'm doing everything in order to not lose a voice. Now that I've read more and more about Krogan military doctrine, I'm thinking that this might have appeared in our Codex after facing the very first Battle Master, who knows? They are callous and brutal, but methodical and disciplined. They use enemies at their disposal to achieve their goals, no matter how reprehensible. Hostage-taking and genocide are acceptable means to ensure a quiet occupation with few Krogan casualties. They are so fucking metal. The Krogans serving with Saren's force appear to be returning to the old style of mass attritional combat. I mean, making sense, because he found, like, the cure for the genophage. RIP that. They also work in close cooperation with supporting Geth units, who fill the roles occupied by combat drones in other armies. Biotics are rare among the Krogan. Those that exist are viewed with suspicion and fear. The Krogan see this aura of fear as a useful quality for an officer and often promote them. Okay, so seemingly every single race out there, when somebody is attuned to the biotics, they are instantly more valuable. Combat drones are often high-tech equipment. Combat drones and other high-tech equipment are likewise in short supply. Okay. Sadly, that's all considering known council races. We are left, ladies and gentlemen, with ships and vehicles and technology. Let's see, I definitely remember us leaving Citadel for the very last time before the finale, and us picking up, you know, just gawking at the Normandy and picking up 3 separate Codex entries. Yeah. Probably thrusters and armor and hull, something about along the lines. Space combat planetary assaults. Okay. Alright. First things first. Planetary assaults are complicated if the target is a habitable garden world. The attackers cannot approach the defenders straight on. Really? The Citadel conventions prohibit the use of large kinetic impactors against habitable worlds. In a straight-on attack, any missiles plow into the planet behind the defending fleet. If the defenders position themselves between the attackers and the planet, they can fire at will while the attackers risks hitting the planet. Oh yeah, fucking Geneva Conventions, am I right, people? Successful assault on garden worlds hinge upon up-to-date intelligence. Attackers need to determine where the enemy defenses are so they may approach from an angle that allows them to fire with no danger of collateral damage. So freaking interesting. I mean, we've seen the very first space battle take place in the very last episode, and I don't think the Geth nor the Sovereign gave a fuck about all of this lore building. They just came in barreling through. Note this is not necessarily for hostile worlds. Once control of orbit has been lost, defensive garrisons disperse into the wilderness. An enemy with orbital superiority can bombard surface forces with impunity. The best option for defenders is to hide and collect reconnaissance in anticipation of relief forces. Given the size of a planet, it is impractical to garrison entire conquered worlds. Fortunately, colonization efforts tend to focus on building up a dozen or fewer areas. Ground forces occupy the spaceport's industrial facilities and major population centers. The wilderness is patrolled by unmanned aerial vehicles and satellite reconnaissance. Makes sense. If a defender unit is spotted, air mobile rapid deployment units and satellite artillery are used to pin down and destroy them. Yeah, awesome. Learning how it is in certain colonies. Sadly, we didn't see these things necessarily play out before our eyes yet. Thrusters. Alright, that definitely is something we got over the freaking Normandy. A Mass Effect drive core decreases the mass of a bubble of space-time around the ship. This gives the ship the potential to move quickly, but does not apply any motive power. Ships use their sublight thrusters for motive power at FTL. There are several varieties of thrusters varying in performance versus economy. All ships are equipped with arrays of hydrogen-oxygen reaction control thrusters for maneuvering. Okay. Ion drives electrically accelerate charged particles as a reaction mass. They are extremely efficient but produce negligible thrust. They are mainly used for automated cargo barges. The primary commercial engine is a fusion torch, which vents the plasma of the ship's power plant. Fusion torches offer powerful acceleration at the cost of difficult heat management. Torch fuel is fairly cheap, helium-3 skimmed from gas giants, and deuterium extracted from seawater or cometary bodies. Propellant is hydrogen, likewise skimmed from gas giant. Peculiar. So much space and science mumbo-jumbo, I love it. I mean, for me, a layman, it's mostly mumbo-jumbo. For you guys, educated scientists out there, it's bread and butter, probably. In combat, military vessels require acceleration beyond the capability of fusion torches. However, warship thrusters inject antiprotons into a reaction chamber filled with hydrogen. The matter-antimatter annihilation provides unmatched motive power. The drawback is fuel production. Antiprotons must be manufactured one particle at a time. Oh, really? Most antimatter production is done at massive solar arrays orbiting energetic stars, making them high-value targets in wartime. Don't believe we've seen something like that in the wild. The exhaust of fusion and antiproton drives is measured in millions of degrees Celsius. Yeah, the fucking heat. Any vessel caught behind them will melt like wax in a blowtorch. Any long-duration interstellar flight consists of two phases, acceleration and deceleration. Starships accelerate to the halfway point of their journey, then flip 180 degrees and apply thrusters on the opposite vector, decelerating as they finish the trip. Really? Am I understanding this right? They only, push down the gas metal considering half of their journey, and the rest is basically braking. The engines are always operating and peak speed is attained in the middle of the flight. This is so cool. Vehicles combat drones. What are we talking about here? We have destroyed a lot of drones considering the gap. And Batarians also had drones. Drones are small robots used to support and supplement organic soldiers on the battlefield. They have no artificial intelligence of any kind, but follow fixed, minimally adaptive programs. Most varieties employ mass effect levitation to improve mobility. Yeah, I believe these are the things we've seen along the way. All modern armies rely on veritable fleets of drones for routine soldiering. Static garrisons, patrols, etc. The use of drones in non-critical duties keep manpower down and reduces casualties in low-intensity conflicts. Less advanced races and cultures with less sensitivity to casualties have correspondingly fewer drones in their inventory. Makes sense considering the Krogan. Up until a certain point, obviously. Drones are of little use in conventional open field battles as they are poorly armed and armored. Yup. They are basically sitting duck. In addition to combat drones, support drones are used to assist organic units in the field. Reconnaissance drones are small, stealthy craft that screen combat units in the field and warn commanders when enemies are spotted. Electronic warfare drones supplement battlefield technicians, serving as mobile jammers and elite electronic intelligence gathering platforms. Military and civilian police utilize Dazzler drones equipped with powerful strobe lights to disorient and subdue intruders using non-lethal force. Okay, we had fucking taser drones in the future. Drone formations are officially referred to as wings. That is, deploy the 4th Assault Drone Wing on the left flank. Common soldiers often refer to friendly formations as flocks, and enemy formations as swarms. That's cool. Alright, I don't believe we got to fly any drones considering our very arsenal. Maybe in future games? Maybe? Possibly we'll have that? Weapons ablative armor. Ablative armor. What are we referring to this time? A warship's kinetic barriers reduce the damage from solid objects, but can do nothing to block guardian lasers, particle beams, and other forms of directed energy weapon. DEW. The inner layer of warship protection consists of ablative armor plated designed ablative armor plate designed to boil away when heated. Alright, this is probably the thing that we got when we clicked on Normandy's hull. The vaporized armor material scatters as DEW beam, rendering it ineffectual. A scaffold is built around the interior pressure hull, with sheets of ablative armor hung from the structure. Ships typically have multiple layers of armor separated by empty baffles. Space is often used for cargo storage. Cruisers which lack the internal space to fit dedicated fighter hangars store the shipboard fighter complement in the baffles. It is not known for enlisted crew to build illicit alcohol at distilleries in some obscure corners of the baffles, safe from prying eyes. So cool. These descriptions totally remind me of something related to, real life ships, as in naval vessels. I am by no means an expert, but these descriptions totally remind me of that. Okay, I guess that's it, considering ships and vehicles. What do we have in technology? A little bit of that B2, B3? I mean L2, L3? Oh, wow, the very last thing. Not necessarily connected with biotics, I guess. Communications methodology. Alright, well, I guess we are getting closer to the end than I anticipated. I mean, I was a little bit, in fear when I saw like the number of blinking categories, but I guess we got there in no time, and I still can speak with my own voice. Let's fucking go. As the population of the galaxy increases and new worlds are settled, timely access for home users and frontier settlers with underdeveloped communication infrastructures is a growing problem. To ameliorate bandwidth issues, a sophisticated array of data caches and virtual intelligence search agent programs are available. No fucking idea when we picked this one up. When a user submits a query, it is first routed to the data cache on their colony or star system. At the cache, the user's search agent VI collates mountains of locally stored data to find the desired material. Okay, so also data is, held locally in order to, not having to connect to the general extranet or whatever it was called here. If the information is not available locally, the query is passed along the neighboring systems. Okay. So neighboring systems first, and then outward in an expanding network. VI search agents in those systems replicate the search. If the desired information is found, it is compressed into a burst file and queued for transmission to the source system. They are fucking sending zip files. The burst is assigned a priority based on the number of queries for it. The greater the number of queries, the higher the priority. Alright. Sounds like a well thought out system. When a new solar system is first connected to the net, a selection of the most popular data is installed locally. Okay, alright. Though storage hardware is cheap, the capacity required to hold all the data produced every day by trillions of people on hundreds of worlds is not trivial. It's not economical to store local copies of all of the data available on obscure topics just in case. As colonies mature, older and less popular chunks of data filter into them as a result of queries and are placed in the local archive. Searches for obscure topics are increasingly likely to produce instant results as the archive grows. This is awesome. Very well written and totally built this awesome picture in my mind. I do wonder whether this has any similarity. Is it based on the real life internet? To be fair, I am not versed in the intricacies of it. Holy shit, based on those reading, Codex reading sessions and stuff, it is more and more apparent that I am a fucking layman, apparently, in every single fucking topic. Alright, I guess that's it. That was awesome. Amazing. Especially amazing because we got so much about the aliens. You guys know how much I fucking love it. The most interesting ones must have been Turian religion, very peculiar, and Solarian imprinting and egg laying. What the fuck, man? So cool. Yeah. But I guess that's going to be it for today. Holy smokes, we are finally saying like a goodbye to Mass Effect 1. This has truly been like a freaking journey. Great, I love it. I don't necessarily know whether the Codex operates in the same way considering the very second and third game, but if it does, right, if it's not necessarily connected to anything in-game, to any in-game quests, then I think it will be appropriate to follow the same formula that we have going on in here with our Codex reading sessions, providing us with additional information about the world of Mass Effect that can totally be relegated to, like, you know, quote, secondary, unquote, episodes where we, you know, can devote the entirety of us to it, right? Awesome. Before I go, however, I wanted to mention the Mass Effect 2. Obviously, I've already mentioned that. We'll be making an appearance on the channel in the span of the next 7 days. And one more thing for you BioWare fans out there. In recent months, or rather recent weeks, we've heard a lot about, you know, Dragon Age Veilguard. And, you know, I am like a fan of the series, you can argue. I may not necessarily agree with every single decision that BioWare took considering that series throughout the years, but I consider myself like a fan. I obviously plan on eventually playing it myself, but I'm really curious about your guys' opinion. As we are playing Mass Effect right now, for a moment still, and this is like a blind playthrough on YouTube, and there must be like you guys in the comments section down below must be BioWare fans. I am really interested in your opinion considering the game, because I've heard a lot of mixed feelings, but, you know, who should I ask, right, better than the BioWare heads on like a BioWare related blind playthrough? So I'm, you know, extending that question to you guys in the comment section down below, whether you like the game and, you know, the direction the series is going in, as, you know, Dragon Age seems to be ever fucking changing its direction and so on and so forth. Right, but I think that's going to be it for today. I will fucking salute you, Mass Effect 1. You've been an absolute banger. The Codex is great. I love it. I absolutely stand by the very review I gave in the very last section. Mass Effect Codex being 10 out of 10 banger. The Codex is amazing. I uphold that opinion. I uphold it even fucking higher after this particular session. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you guys very much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, but remember to do it only if you guys feel like it. It's always greatly appreciated though, because it helps the channel a great deal. And considering the channel, also check it out, because there may be similar blind playthroughs to this particular one there that may pique your interest. For the very last time, thank you for going on this amazing Mass Effect journey with me. See you in the very next one, I can already say that, and bye bye. Stay safe out there, you beautiful people. Love ya.